Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from a throwaway account and is titled, "Am I the arsehole for telling my girlfriend I don't like the person she's turning into?" For some background, my girlfriend and I have been together for 5 years and met in college. For the past 4 years, things have been great. I've always thought I was the luckiest guy in the world. She's incredibly out of my league. About a year ago, my girlfriend woke up in the middle of the night and had a panic attack. She couldn't breathe and I ended up calling an ambulance. She had no history of panic attacks but was really stressed at work, so we think that's what triggered it. She's currently taking time off work, which I absolutely support, but refuses medication. The doctor recommended anxiety meds, saying she didn't think medication would help when the panic attack was stress-induced. She also doesn't have many friends, and I think that could also be a contributing factor. She has been overall happier. Over the last 6 months, however, she's been changing a lot about herself, and I don't know how to address it. She's dyed her hair an unnatural color. She started wearing more black/dark blue. She's gotten into heavy metal and rock, and she has gone vegan. I've been slowly asking her what's with the new look, new interest, and she said she's met a girl online who lives in our city who is into the heavy metal scene, and she's taken a liking to it and has made many friends because of it. I was fine with the new interest in friends, but I was cautious because it's such a drastic change in a short time. This past Friday, while she was meeting up with her friends, I asked if I could come along. She said she didn't mind but asked if I was sure since it's not exactly my scene. I honestly just wanted to meet these new friends. We get to the show and I'll admit, I was kind of surprised that metalheads are so nice. Sorry to all the metalheads reading this. The only person who didn't acknowledge me or talk to me was this one guy about our age. After the show, everyone was hanging out and her attention eventually got pulled away from me. She started to talk to the one guy who never said hello to me, and maybe I missed it earlier, but talking to her was the only time I saw him smile the entire night. She also clung to him quite a bit, which made me uncomfortable. At around midnight, I couldn't find her and I texted her, "It's getting late, we should go." She texted back saying she wanted to stay, and if I wanted to leave, she understood. I got angry, but just text back, "Fine." She came home at 4 AM completely drunk. I was awake but pretended not to be. Saturday morning, I was very distant with her while she nursed a hangover. She eventually asked if I was mad at her and I said yes. I told her I'm happy that she's not stressed anymore and meeting friends and finding new interests, but she's a completely different person than she was 6 months ago. She argued she's the exact same person, but I countered that with the her 6 months ago would never have told me to go home alone at midnight, or she got shit-faced with people she barely knows and come crawling home at 4 AM. She got defensive and we fought. She ended up leaving and saying she was going to stay with a friend for the night. She came home Monday morning and we talked and I told her I'm worried about her, and she said she is fine. She's finally in a place where she's happy and I should be happy for her. And if it's such a problem, then we should take a break. I was shocked that she was so willing to just throw away 5 years and told her as much. She shrugged and said she has to put her happiness first. I asked her when her happiness shifted from building a life with me to partying with random people she met. She rolled her eyes and got up to leave. I told her I don't like who she's turning into, and she called me an arsehole and accused me of not wanting her to be happy outside of our relationship. So, am I the arsehole? Now, I feel like the comments are going to pretty much attach themselves to the issue with this guy who didn't smile at you and only seemed to smile at your girlfriend, and your girlfriend seemed pretty attached to him, and then they both disappeared together and didn't come back till 4 AM. Come on now, that's got to be a huge red flag, right? So I'll start us off with a comment that's slightly a bit different from Potent Technically, who says, "Don't just assume it's bad. It's almost certainly is, but don't assume. Ask her if she's cheating because at the very least it sounds like she wants to. Tell her you two need to talk to a professional about your relationship. Even money says she won't, and if that's so, she doesn't want to save it. In that case, leave. Ultimately, this little fantasy life will crumble and she'll either spiral down or come back to you seeking support. Don't wait for that. Grieve your relationship. When she calls, refuse to talk to her unless she's in therapy and wholly honest with you about everything, or just refuse to talk to her. She's an adult and she made an adult choice." Summer Oracle says, "Not the arsehole, it sounds like she may be experiencing some form of crisis. There's a lot of information missing and she's the only one who can provide it. Given she's unwilling to get help and she's made it perfectly clear she does not care about your feelings, there's nothing you can do here. As for the events you've described, it does strongly indicate that she has cheated on you. I would imagine you are struggling with feeling helpless in all of this, and giving up on such a long-term relationship is incredibly painful. However, you do not have the power to make her want something she does not, and right now, she does not want to be with you anymore. It may be for the best for you to end the relationship, figure out the details on separating, and look into therapy to help you navigate the impact this is having on you. Impossible Trainer says not the arsehole. In my opinion, I think that your problem isn't that she has new friends or that she is changing her style, but that she is blowing you off for new people. Leaves you to return home alone late at night while she is out drinking, doesn't acknowledge your concerns or tries to reassure you that nothing is happening. Instead of taking the day to talk, Sunday, she decided to just leave and not address anything. With all this being said, it's obvious you are not trying to be controlling, but rather you're concerned for her and the future of your relationship. Have a talk with her and don't let her blow you off with excuses or just cut the conversation and leave. Tell her your concerns again. Maybe she is cheating with a silent dude, about the dude, the drinking, and that she isn't prioritizing you and your relationship anymore, and that you need a clear answer for your future because obviously you can't continue like this anymore. Maybe she is cheating, not sure, and does all this so you have to break up with her because she doesn't want to do it, or she truly did change and you're not compatible anymore. In either case, she needs to be clear with you so you can make a decision to stay or to break up, not the arsehole. But OP did come back in to update the post and they said, I realized I never mentioned ages in the last post. We're both 25. The short version is, we broke up. Before I got home from work, I texted her and asked her to be home so we could talk. When I got home, she wasn't there and I had to wait about an hour for her to get home. I asked her plainly if she wanted to break up. She said yes. I asked her why and she told me, it's not me. I've been absolutely wonderful, but she's changed and has realized she hasn't been happy for a while, and that included within our relationship. I was pretty hurt, honestly. I asked her why she never said anything sooner, and she said she thinks because she hadn't realized how unhappy she was until she started feeling happy again. I said she still should have come to me about this earlier, and she shrugged. I asked her if she's been sleeping with that guy. She said no, but she hesitated. I asked why the hesitation, and told her she might as well be honest now that the relationship is over. She said they kissed that night at the after show, after I left and made out later, but swears it didn't go further. I told her it's still cheating and I wasn't sure if I believed her. She rolled her eyes and said, I asked for honesty and that's what I got, believe it or don't. I told her I want her out and asked her to take whatever she could now and would make arrangements for her to get anything she can't take with her now. She didn't seem sorry that she cheated or that she threw away a 5-year relationship. Anyway, that's the update. This really sucks. I think I should mention there's a lot of comments below this one, especially people that are bipolar are saying, this sounds like a manic episode. Some people saying, it doesn't sound like that to them. But there is a lot of people saying that. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. And next, I'm going to read a story that we've covered in the past, but it has a new update, which someone said to me, it escalates things pretty hard. It's from Scared Weakness 6250. If you do want to skip parts of the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. It was titled, Am I the Arsehole for jumping out of the way when my niece and nephew tried to push me into a pool, resulting in them falling in? Happened today. My folks decided to host a barbecue because I guess that's what older people do. I declined because I really don't like my 2 sisters, their husbands or their kids. Wife and I are child free. Mum then pressured the wife. Long story short, we went. By the time we arrived, there were about 20 people there. My sisters and their husbands were already solidly buzzed. Drunk really. My mum was spending 100% of her time trying to keep the nieces and nephews, ages 7 to 11, more or less under control. My dad had strategically retreated to the whirlpool part of the pool with a small cooler full of beers. Wife and I made small talk with miscellaneous people, ate food and had a frozen margarita. Sisters and brother-in-laws took turns criticizing us for being late, not being in our swimsuits and screwing up the vibe. Whatever. Typical suburban summer get-together. About 45 minutes in, 2 of the kids ran at one of the neighbor's guests who was standing next to the pool and pushed her in. She was at the pool steps, stumbled in but did not fall, so only got half wet. She was clearly very unhappy about it, but she didn't make a scene. Just went over to where the parents were, grabbed their towels, dried herself off and left. Sisters and brother-in-laws thought it was all great fun. A bit later, I was standing a few feet away from the pool, chatting away with someone. I saw 3 of the kids running full tilt at me from the corner of my eye. Obviously, I was next. Not that it's terribly difficult to outwit young kids, but I just jumped out of the way at the last second. All 3 of them ran straight into the pool at full speed. Most of the other guests, including my wife and me, started laughing, but their mums, who I mentioned were pretty shit-faced, absolutely freaked out. Apparently, 2 of the kids couldn't swim, even though they were in swimsuits. Since I wasn't in swim gear, I stepped back from the pool and let the other people fish the kids out. The kids were bawling their heads off like they'd lost a limb. At that point, all hell broke loose. The 4 drunk parents were yelling at everyone in general, and me in particular, for nearly letting their kids drown. And also because 2 of the kids had been videoing the trick using their parents' iPhones, which were now at the bottom of the pool. One of my brother-in-laws got into the pool to try and retrieve the phones, but his BMI and BAC made that impossible. No one else volunteered to help. Unsurprising given that my sisters were still bitching at everyone. I told my sisters it was their job to watch their kids and that if anything had happened to them, it would have been their responsibility, not mine. There were pretty strong words on both sides. Wife and I left and the other brother-in-law fell over and face planted while yelling at us. Now they are saying I should have let the little shits knock me into the pool and have their fun, and ruin my phone. So, am I the arsehole? Side note, Dad of course never got out of the whirlpool. So below that in the comments, OP had some thoughts and they said, I realised they're just kids and they were just having fun. The fact that they thought this was okay is more of a reflection of their parents than them. Just wish we hadn't gone. It's nice to see my folks and their neighbours, but I really don't like my sisters or their husbands. They don't hide their envy of us and they're just exhausting to be around. Some more about why OP doesn't care for some of his family. OP says it's more of an oil and water sort of thing. I've never been close to my sisters. They're 8 and 10 years older than me. I also don't have much in common with their husbands. They're okay guys, but I just don't give a crap about the things that are important to them and vice versa. I do know that the 4 of them are somewhat envious of our lifestyle. Both the sisters are stay-at-home mums. Both the husbands make good money. One makes noticeably more than I do, but both my wife and I have professional careers. We don't have kids and we are way more responsible with money. As a result, we have a lot more investments, etc. And we don't have to drive cars full of kid debris and we take nice trips once or twice a year. It definitely grates on both sisters and by extension their husbands. So we get some petty behavior from them on an ongoing basis. Overall, neither my wife nor I enjoy their company, which is why I wanted to skip the get-together. Just not worth it to me. But my wife is a positive person and is usually happy to see them. Someone says, hopefully next time your wife won't feel guilted into going. And OP says, that's probably the one positive thing that will come out of this. Wife is much more tolerant and forgiving than I am towards my siblings, but based on what she was saying on the way home, I think she's had it with them as well. Someone says your dad sounds awesome. OP said, yeah, my dad's very chill. He loves being around groups of people, used to be in sales, likes people to enjoy themselves and is definitely enjoying life as a retiree. He and 2 other guys with him just sat there and watched the show. Mum's cool too, but the situation upset her. Someone says, the kid's okay. OP says the kids are fine. By the time I left, they were inside watching TV. I think they are 7, 9, 10, 10, and 11. It was the middle 3 who played kamikaze with me. I'm guessing the 11-year-old egged them on. She's usually the ringleader. Someone says you phrased the part about your parents hosting a barbecue oddly. OP says, had to shorten the post to fit the character limit. Folks are gregarious and like to have other people over. They have the classic great for entertaining house and are always coming up with a reason to get together. I'd wanted everyone to be at their place for the 4th of July, but one of my sisters and her family were on vacation, so this was a fake 4th of July party complete with flags, red, white and blue decorations, barbecue, a margarita machine, etc. Sparklers were promised to the kids. My nieces and nephews were the only kids there. All the other neighbours are older, like my parents. So around a month later, OP updates again and says, first off, my folks tell me that my nieces and nephews are all good swimmers and that they use the pool all the time. 7-year-old is still a beginner, but he loves the water. My sister just said they couldn't swim so I'd look bad. be fair, none of the kids are allowed in the deep end, which is where they fell in. It was the two 10-year-olds and the 9-year-old who tried to push me into the pool. After we left, the party ended on a pretty sour note. My drunk brother-in-law, who face planted while yelling at me, had to go to an urgent care place and get his face stitched up. He was too toasted to drive, so Dad took him. Dad was not very happy about this. Late that evening, my sisters started a group text and said some really nasty crap. The husbands threw in a few comments as well. Wife and I blocked the four of them. My mum called me. She was pretty upset about what they said. She and Dad were in the chat, and I don't blame her. Because of the text, my folks insisted my sisters/brother-in-laws come over the next day, Sunday, without their kids, to get something straight and lay down some ground rules, Mum's wording. The result was a contrite, if unenthusiastic apology from the siblings via my mum's phone. I'm glad my wife was with me when they called. Her hard stares kept me from saying what I wanted to. I just told them thanks and that we felt no need to discuss it further. Since I thought things were settled, I unblocked them. That evening I got a text from one of the brother-in-laws telling me the phone's cost of this amount and asking when I'd be paying for them. What the fuck? I replied, never. Took a screenshot of his text and forwarded it to my folks with a note that we're done with this nonsense. We're going no contact with sisters and spouses and to not invite us to any more holidays or get-togethers if they'll be present. Then I blocked the sisters and their spouses again. At that point, the shit really hit the fan. Dad called them and ripped them a new one. Among other things, he told them the grandkids were not welcome at his place indefinitely. Since my mum regularly provides free babysitting, that got them pretty rattled. He also banned them from using the vacation house and told them my wife and I actually own it, not he and mum. This completely freaked them out. Both of my sisters and families use the place a lot, including having their friends up for the weekend getaways. This was very much out of character for my folks. They clearly had it, and for reference, I never wanted my sisters to know we owned the place. We bought it for my folks. They'd always wanted a place in the mountains. Keeping the ownership quiet was a way to avoid drama with my siblings. A couple of days later, my sisters and their husbands came to our place unannounced to apologize in person. We were out to dinner and they left a note. One sister also called me at work too. I sent her to voicemail. We've decided being no contact is the best thing for the indefinite future and haven't interacted with them for the last 3+ weeks. Personally, I'm done. They can go pound sand. And kick a rock too. So someone asked below that when they said, how's life been? Opie says it's been less than a month, but I have to say that blocking them has actually made our lives noticeably more peaceful. I hadn't realized how much ongoing low-level drama they create. It is not toxic, they're not bad people, they're just tiresome and petty. And I personally don't care about them using the weekend place. It's ours technically, but we bought it for my folks. They control it and decide who uses it when they aren't. We pay for all the operating costs and taxes. One good thing about this blow-up is that we now know what we'll be doing with the property when my folks get older. I was prepared to take over managing it, allocating weekends, maintaining it and such. But now we know we'll just sell it, and if we want to go to the mountains, we'll just rent an Airbnb. Opie's parents. Yeah, my folks aren't dumb. They're pretty laid back though, very much live and let live. I figure they'll ease up on all of this soon, but that's their decision. We still won't be attending any family events for the foreseeable future. What sucks for my sisters is that they're probably very worried that I'll keep them from using the cabin. I won't, that's up to mum and dad until they are older. And it puts an end to one of the sisters' fantasy of building a compound of houses when we inherit the property, which I've known about for some time and had just ignored. Normally the lots up there only have one area that can be built on, but this piece of property is way larger because it's at the end of a road. At least 3 houses with great views could be placed on that land. Someone says they're not genuinely sorry, they just want things from you. Opie says, I agree completely, their apologies aren't sincere, and I have no plans to interact with them anytime soon. Regarding them using the vacation home, that's really my parents' decision. Yes, technically I own it and cover all the expenses, but I bought it for them and gave them day-to-day control over it. They're good people and they've always wanted a getaway place for the family, but there's no way they could have ever bought it themselves. I could afford to buy it for them because I've been fortunate financially / save and invest like a demon. Plus I got massive bonus the same year I sold my home and moved in with my now wife. I don't care if my folks let my siblings use the house, but I will admit I'm enjoying my sister's discomfort over finding out that I could afford to buy the place and let my folks use it while never mentioning it to them. Dad changed the lock code when they went up last week, so now only he, Mum, my wife and I have it. With regards to my mum babysitting the kids, she tells me that once a week she and sometimes Dad have been getting over to sister's place and spending the day with the kids. When school starts, she's going to pick each set up from school once a week on separate days and take them home / spend the evening with them. She says the 5 of them together stress her out, but separately they are fine. Mum and Dad have both told me they don't plan on having my sisters and their families back to their place in the foreseeable future, and that they're enjoying the quiet. My guess is that they were already tired of the old dynamic and used the pool party nonsense as an excuse to make some changes to the relationships. So OP added their update a week after the last update and said, well, it's been an interesting last few days. I thought the shit had hit the fan before, but it was more of a fart compared to what happened this week. For this to make sense, I need to provide some financial context. I'm such a child. My folks haven't ever been any good at saving money. I've been doing their taxes for years, so I know pretty much everything about them money-wise. The house is paid for and they have minimal debt, but they didn't save much for retirement. Both of them got social security. Dad gets a solid pension, and they have a bit of savings, but there's no treasure chest in the basement. I bought their current car for them after they retired, a retirement present so they could have something nice to drive. It was the first car in probably 20 years they didn't lease. My sisters are convinced the folks are dripping with money and that our parents will be leaving the 2 of them everything since I don't need more money. So they've never cared about saving either. Turns out my older sister and her husband, they have 3 kids, have been living beyond their means for some time and are in financial straits. They've maxed out their credit cards and are behind on their car leases to the point that one is about to get repossessed. He bragged in the past about making X per year, but it turns out to be about half of that. She confessed all this to Mum on Tuesday because they need a loan and because, and this is a what the fuck moment for Mum and Dad, that for the last 3 years, instead of staying at the vacation house regularly, she'd been renting it out once a month or so and pocketing the cash. We're talking $2,000 plus for a weekend and at least $4,000 for a week. With her being cut off from using the place, she's had to cancel one group already. She's now worried they'll lose everything. My folks aren't in any position to give them a loan. My other sister was aware of her renting out the place, but of course hasn't ever said anything. I suspect she's done the same thing as well because I went up there once to drop off an ATV I'd had worked on, and there was a family there who claimed to be staying there with my sister / her family, and they'd gone to town for something. At the time I let it go. I figured she'd loaned out the house to some friends, but I've always wondered. I found all of this out through my folks who are pretty stressed out about it. Mum more than Dad. He's mainly just pissed off about it all. I know Dad feels betrayed, and I imagine he's embarrassed that he's in no position to help his daughter out. He did reiterate that as long as it's up to him, the girls won't be using the vacation home anytime soon. My folks let me know what's going on because they figured my sisters would pull a full court press on me next. And they were right. On Thursdays, my sisters came to our place again, without husbands this time, and waited outside the door until I got home. I had to choose between fighting with them in public and making a scene if I went in without them, or letting them in, so I let them in. I got a bullshit story from the older sister with the younger one backing her up regarding why I needed to let them use the mountain place again immediately. He also said I've been a shitty brother and that I needed to step up and plan on paying for their kids' college tuition since that's what family does. Oh man. I let them pitch their story, then called them out based on what my folks had told me. Things went to shit from there. There was denial, crying, cursing, yelling, you name it. I swear my ears are still ringing 2 days later. Won't lie, I said some really mean and shitty things to them, but nothing that wasn't true. They finally left after about an hour. After that, I took a shower and laid down. When I got up, my wife was home and her first words were that she'd had to block more phone numbers because my sisters were blowing up our phones from new ones. Folks messaged me yesterday asking me to call. I'm sure my sisters have told them some bullshit version of what happened, but I'm not up to rehashing it yet. I'm usually a pretty energetic person, but this drama has me beaten down. I had just enough energy today to drive up to the vacation house and padlock the entrance gate shut. I'm the only one with a key. I'm guessing that will be enough to ensure my siblings leave the place alone. They'd probably die trying to walk 400 yards uphill to get to the house. I don't know why. Stupid of me, but I thought that, them waiting outside your house, there was going to be some proper, sincere apologies coming to you. But they just kept demanding to use the house. obviously they had some more bookings. And I can't believe they was doing that in the first place. My hand was on my head like, oh God. But what do you guys make of this situation? Absolutely, just cut them off completely. The entitlement is amazing. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. You just don't. Still selling false hope cause you just don't care.